Hey, everybody, welcome, welcome. I am so excited about today's show. Probably too close to my mic today because I am jumping up and down with Suzanne Alexandria joining me here
Me
today.
too.
Oh my God, managing your energy daily. She didn't just say managing your energy. She's like managing your energy daily. Do you actually put yourself in the driver's seat? Boy, are we going to talk about a lot. I bet Benny and Olivia are going to chime in today. For those of you, let me just say who Suzanne is for a minute. You know, I've been working with her for a while, and energy healer through the Order of the Magdalene, spiritual coach, teacher, leads clients in deep healing. How? You've heard this, the Akashic records, so powerful. And yet all of this, we know we store things in our body. Our bodies are the indicators. And we're going to talk about that today. But we're also going to talk about energy, whether or not you expand it or you restrict it. Sometimes people say, you don't want to go all out. Other people say, I don't know. It's all energy. Energy is expansive. Why are you restricting it? Today, Suzanne is going to take us on the ride of our life because why? We're all feeling the energy of things. You know, a lot of information has come out over the weekend. There's a lot of energy around things changing, you know, myself including, Suzanne including, all of us. Suzanne, it's great to have you here. Great, great show today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Dr. Pat. Big love, big hugs to you and our listeners. Yay. Let's set some energy and a good vibration.
Oh my God. Let's start with the conversation about we're all energy. Energy is everything. And why do we ignore that fact? Holy, I can't cuss. Benny would be beeping me. But
Bleep.
I'm just saying, why do we ignore that fact? Because I am what you call a highly sensitive person. I'm, you know, people have said I'm an empath. I pick up energy. You could say something to me that you don't think is hurtful, and I'm like, okay, my little heart hurts. And, you
Mhm.
know, I've learned to really put a shield over it. But let's talk about energy for a minute from your perspective. What is it that went on with you for you to say, I got to talk about this today?
Because I am here to help people empower themselves and to like take to own themselves, own their sovereignty and be free. And I know the hard way. I have been in that same place that you were too. And stuff used to hurt me. Energy used to really hurt me. And I am also empathic. And I used to hold everybody's crap. Sorry. But and I like we don't have to do that. And I'm out of that, out of those shenanigans and into a place of knowing the truth that we don't have to succumb to even those beliefs that, oh, just because you're sensitive, you have to feel this way, or you have to stop your life and go through something major, to get out of it. So
Yeah.
so that's my why.
Yeah.
And I'm fired up about it.
And I'm fired up about it too, because we carry this thought of you have to go through suffering and pain to really come to the other side of it. And, you know, look, it doesn't matter what you believe in spiritually. There are mixed feelings about this. You know, there are some lines of thought that say, no, you know, the God of my understanding and who my savior is, whether it's him or her, they have been through the pain. We don't need to go through the pain.
Mhm.
But yet we get signs and we don't follow them. And then when we don't follow them, I'm simplifying the Akashic records. I'm sorry. When we don't follow them, it's like a giant 2x4,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yes, that's the thing, right? When we don't follow them, when we don't when we don't see the signs. Yeah, I love that.
You know, I mean, look, I'm going through some, you know, really powerful positive changes, not just in my life, but in our network and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And, you know, sometimes you hit the pause button on something and people around you say, what are you afraid of? But what's the sign that we get that isn't always a yes? So we think that if we get a sign that says hit the pause button or maybe a no, that we're holding back. But that's not about that all the time. Energy will give us signs, correct? That will tell us Take one
Mm-hmm.
step forward or take one step back or take no step at all, right? Tell us
Mm-hmm.
about that.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect summary. You know what I've learned is that when I want something to learn, I want it and then I might have to wait for the opening, but then I'm open and I know that I've come upon the opening, for instance. And that is energy, that is also my, spirit saying, okay, now the door's open. And it's all energy and I feel it and then I really really know. And it's the same like when you're talking about the pause or the stop. What I think I've been tripped up by, and a lot of people get tripped up by, is not realizing how empowered we are. And you can easily stay stuck in the pause,
Yeah.
and be like, oh, it's not quite the right time.
Yeah.
But it's all about what questions are you asking and
Yeah.
how much in alignment are you to know when it's the right time to make a move or to say something or to take that next step.
Look, you believe so strongly in this.
Mhm.
And there's a reason that you believe so strongly in this, and I believe so strongly in this. And, there are certain things in my lifetime that I've come to value. And, people ask me a lot on what it's like to manage an organization like this and continue to grow. And what do I look for in people? And what gives me a positive vibe and what doesn't? I mean, I'm asked questions like this now recently more than ever. But I've had to think about what my why is. I want to know what your why is, because if you're like me, you've got a why.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I mean, well, my personal why is I would say it's the same for my business, and now it's the same for everything I do. I think I used to be kind of segmented into a why for my work, a why for my kids, a why for my personal relationships, but now it's becoming all one because I've come into like union with all of that. So my why really, like, that's always been the case. It's freedom. It's I am here to learn freedom, personal freedom for myself. That's what I've been working through for 10 years or
Yeah.
more, let's say my whole life. And and that's my why for talking about energy and for talking about tools, because freedom, we're here, I believe we're here to be free. We're here to be free and experience life from a place of openness and
Yeah.
discernment and conscious connection.
Yeah.
Not everyone is, though, but that opportunity is here, I do believe, for everyone.
So let's talk about freedom, because I was asked, I was doing something with Mark Anthony. I do a show with Mark, and we did an article that was posted in the, well, get it right, Pat, Holistic Life magazine.
Mm,
And so I'm asked these questions, and help me out with this, because this, I want to follow up to what you said. So people ask me about this freedom thing because I talk about it a lot. I
mhm.
talk about it a lot. Um,
Yeah.
and most of the time when we talk about freedom, we talk about our mind. But here's what I answered. When I was asked the question, how do you know, Pat, on a daily basis that you're free? And I said, it's really easy for me. I'm in a state of joy. I'm
Mm.
in a state of bliss. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. It doesn't matter that I've just bought plants for my yard and the rabbit just had a great dinner with them. Right? Or
Yeah.
you've got the plants, you've moved them to the deck, and the rabbit is staring at them like incessantly out your door. And you've got the plants high enough now and the flowers, and the rabbit in the front yard just is sitting there staring at them, trying to figure out how do I, it doesn't, but how about when things hit you hard
Mhm.
financially?
Mhm.
Can you still hold the freedom to choose joy? If you're not at a place of joy, then where are you? Help me with this.
Yeah. Okay. That is such a good question. Yeah. I mean, because you hit on the key word for me, it's choice. Even if you're struggling with finance, like deep finances or deep trauma
Or
or deep
illness.
whatever illness, knowing, remembering that you always have a choice is what I know to be true, and I have come through lots of trauma and lots of financial stuff too. And when I, have hit those pivotal times where I remember, oh my goodness, I have a choice. And I have a story if you want. Can I tell
Yeah,
it
I want to
about finances?
please share your story.
Because I went through a divorce last year, and I also went through some other stuff. And I had debt, credit card debt. And a series of things happened when I was in alignment and when I was listening that showed me very clearly, oh my goodness, there's a path to getting out of this, and I must choose it. And then the choice is going to set me free. And I did it. And I made a pathway and a plan. And I thought the plan would take a year, and it took about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because I made a choice to get really real with it and to face it and to say, hey, I'm going to do something about it today. And I fundamentally just believe, like, now there's no situation that you can't choose your way into at least a better perception of it. Even if you're no matter how sick you are, or you can't move your body. We know stories of people that come to this freedom in their consciousness, in their head, in their heart still, and find that way to be free despite the circumstances. And that's why, after experiencing my own stuff and knowing, like, hearing stories, there is always that opportunity to choose. And that to me, that's fundamentally underlying this freedom we're talking about.
And, thank you for sharing that, because, Benny will tell you, Benny and I have been around the horn a few times.
Mm-hmm.
He knows probably more about me than most people do, except for Linda and Jessica, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And, he knows a bit about what my healing journey was like that lasted 10 years. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to last 10 minutes, to be honest with you. I was like, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
going on. What am I going? Give me a pill, give me
Yeah.
something.
Right.
And that wasn't the journey. And I realized, looking back, the energetic pattern of this and why the universe did that is because I was going to quit doing what I'm doing today. I had
Mm-hmm.
doubt. I had fear. I loved it. The minute I got behind the mic, the crust busting your way to an awesome life with me and Benny mostly at the time, talking to
Mm-hmm.
each other, it was like breathing. But
Yeah.
here we have
Right.
the
Freedom.
energy of should. I want to talk to you about the energy of should when we come back.
Okay.
And what
Awesome.
tools can we learn? And why is it sometimes we go through the most horrific situations like people are going through now? And what can we believe and hold to ourselves about the energy of joy, the energy
Mm-hmm.
of peace, the
Mm-hmm.
energy of goodwill, the energy of gratitude? What can we know about those energies despite the rabbit in your backyard? Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. We're back in that jazz mood, aren't we? Like back
Yeah.
grooving that, like
Grooving with the energy of
jazz,
jazz.
sultry. Where's Jade? Whatever
Smooth
happened to
jazz.
Jade? Just loved her.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's energy. That's what the groove of that is. Suzanne,
Yeah.
before we continue, because what we're about to talk about hits pretty much every nerve
Mm-hmm.
that people that are listening will probably feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to tell you there's a solution. Before we do that, how do people find out more about you? How do they work with you? Give us the skinny on all of that.
Awesome. So people find me at SuzanneAlexandria.com and on Instagram at Wings of Isis. That's my handle. And through my website, they can see the different things I do. I teach some programs. I'm a healer's healer, like a coach's coach. And so I teach other healers and guide other healers in their intuitive gifts and how to operate businesses from that place, how to come into that. So the best place is my website. I'm also on Facebook. And Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does, but I would
Okay.
just want to make a comment on it.
Yeah.
And because you guys have heard me talk about this a couple of times now, that I have a number of coaches and mentors. And when you're somebody like us that are out in the world, I don't consider myself a healer. I consider myself a catalyst for other healers. But I will tell you, we need coaching and mentoring. And sometimes on a regular basis, we need to get the help that you provide because
Mhm.
we take it all in.
Yeah.
There are things that we absorb, right? And
It's
I have often
true.
thought
Yeah.
about this. Benny, Olivia, Jacob, the functions that they have. I mean, I've known Benny. He starts his day early in the morning and works with every personality, including mine, that one, on
Yeah.
a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so people that do healing need help. But let's talk about this. This is an understanding we have, right? And we're going to give people some practices. But when the unexpected of the unexpected shows up, things start to come down around us. And it's still all energy. Tell us about that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's still all energy. And what do you do with it? How do you respond when it all comes down? I think that's a really beautiful, what that brings to me a beautiful image. So, what I teach energy management, energy empowerment, right? We're all these amazing lights of spirit in a body. And if you imagine yourself as a golden egg, okay? And nothing, on one hand, nothing can penetrate that. That's you. That's your true light, your true self. That's why I'm wearing all gold today, because we are this powerful light that is designed to emanate like a lighthouse, like a golden egg. So, but what happens is we forget about that. We think we're not impervious, and we take stuff in, and we don't know how to keep our golden egg solid and how to keep ourselves lit up like a lighthouse. So on one hand, when the world starts to crash, it's about our response. What do? Do you let it all cascade into you and feel completely powerless? Sometimes, I mean, I've been there and I still do that sometimes. But then I remember and I get cleared out and I move stuff away and I get back into that, that light, and fill myself with solid gold, because I
Yeah.
remember that's
Yeah.
what I'm made of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is relatively new for me to be so empowered with that, because I've been gleaning and learning from all these experiences, but now I know that's the truth. And when we remember that, then we respond to anything, to
Yeah.
anything, like anything. Yeah, sure. Does it take some time? Yeah. Does some things will take us down for a while, but then we remember, oh, okay, wait a minute. There's a way to go to navigate through this and still remember that I'm light and I'm loved, that spirit, that God loves me, that my angels love me, and I'm going
Yeah.
to get through this, and I have people too,
Yeah.
so that's what the stuff I've been through has taught me. Like,
Yeah.
remember, you can do this. You're the one, right? You're the
Yeah.
one who has to, like, fill yourself back up like a balloon. You can have
Yeah.
help,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you got to do it.
Let me ask you this question right now, because you're onto something important that we don't really know enough about in our self consciousness. I was talking to a mentee. I mentor women in recovery. I was talking to a mentee, and she was explaining bits about her job.
Mhm,
And, one of the things that I'm groomed about is I wear a sign, no complaining, on my face. I mean, even though I don't have that sign, I
mhm,
just realized complaining is an energy, and
mhm.
it is one
Yeah.
of the most destructive energies we have,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
People don't realize it. And she was talking about how she wanted to move forward. And this reflected me of our conversation right now. Because when people talk about their situations, you can relate to it,
Yeah.
you can feel it. And the
Yeah.
hardest thing to do is step out of that and say, you
Mhm.
know what? This is the job you wanted. You know who your boss is. And, I'm talking about myself to her because I'm this boss, but her
Mhm.
boss. And I said, you just got caught telling your coworker that it was not his job, that he did not have to do something that the boss really expected him to know. I said, you just did that.
Mhm.
And I said, let's talk about where that's coming from. You want to excel, and your boss hates gossip. Your boss can't stand defying right teamwork, and
Mhm.
you just told a coworker that it's not his job. He doesn't have to learn how to plug something in. And I said, let's talk about that. What energy are you calling into yourself? Because now you're called on the carpet and you may lose your job over that comment.
Mhm.
So, what was going on with you? And this is really hard coaching because in your mind, you can feel their frustration. You put yourself back in that place and you say, yeah, boy, yeah, don't be doing stuff you don't think you're getting paid. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
there. I know what
Yeah.
that's like. It sounds so
Yeah.
benign, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Mhm.
We tell me about the energies we plug into that could totally
Mhm.
derail the vision
Yeah.
for the future we want.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's what we're talking about, right? Like that's where are you plugged in? To me on one simple level, that's kind of like epitomizes the state of, without being political, but the state of our country in a way, like plugging into one, that it has to be one side or the other. When you say that, that's what I think about, like plugging into, that's not your job, it's not mine. That it's like separation versus, hey, we're in this together, this is our company, whatever the situation is. How do we navigate? Like it kind of like, that's what I think about when you tell that story. It brings you into a separation energy, we could call it, of this or that, you or me, not mine to deal with, versus union energy. So there's so many ways to think about energy. And fundamentally, my focus has become that union. And you first do it in yourself, and you remember that whose team you're on, your own team
Yeah.
and spirit's team.
Yeah.
And then,
And what really hit it hard was what you just mentioned. Not to get political, but yeah, we live in where we're trying to heal as a country. There are some things that are going on that seem on the surface that is like awful, but yet it creates a scenario which gives people more choices.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to get into that politically, but
I
here
believe that too. What do we do with it? Yeah,
when
it's
we
all about
do.
what you do with it. Like that's when you take your power back.
Exactly. And, here we are today. We're going to talk about energy, but what can happen when that energy isn't really thought about or acknowledged?
Yeah.
When we come back from break, I want to talk with you about that
Hmm.
because as I'm talking to my mentee, I'm realizing I'm also projecting. I'm the woman that started a network based with the help of Benny, really launching the crust busting show, and so many people that have come by, and literally operating from a garage like scenario where I got Jessica, I got Heather in the back room, but before him, Nick Johnson, before him, Dombrowski, we're in this small 175 square foot room with technology.
Hmm.
And Jessica reminded me of this yesterday. She talked about the energy of Heather training her. And without that foundation,
Hmm.
Jessica would not be the Jessica today.
You brought
But
the light in. Yeah, it like brought the light in, right? Hmm.
Heather learned this along the way with Oliver from Germany. It was me, then it was Kim, then it was Linda, then it was Heather, and Heather was ex-military. You have to ask Jessica what that training was like. When we come back, we're
Oh
going to
yeah,
talk
that's
about
awesome.
what happens when we really don't think about or acknowledge energy. when you're at the grocery store, when you're trying to fight over a parking spot, when you see somebody not wearing a mask and you haven't heard the news that don't have to wear masks. What are you doing with all that energy? The good, the bad, the ugly.
Where are you sending it? Yeah.
And where are you sending it? Like anybody cares. But then there's kind energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Linda had a moment yesterday. I want to talk about it when we come back.
Okay. Awesome.
Which are we going to choose? The good, the bad, the ugly, the kind? We'll be right back. Suzanne Alexandria is going to walk us through all the steps we need to understand practical magic and practical energy. We'll be right back. I don't know. What happened to the rap music, Benny?
That absolutely 100% is. I will give you a rundown real fast. That's actually it's an instrumental version of "Sky's the Limit" by the Notorious B.I.G., who is an East Coast favorite.
Nice.
So, oh my gosh.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Benny.
I like it. I'm going to play that in my car.
I'm telling you, that's the way it is.
I could play the real version, but I'll be editing quite a bit.
Yeah, you're going to be editing every second word.
Yeah.
Benny taught me the meaning of explicit back a bunch of years ago when I was sending him songs, and I didn't understand when they said explicit in it. And I sent him some song and he didn't know it was explicit. And that was an interesting energy to put out over the show. What wasn't it 50 Cent in the club? Yeah, that was the first
song. I just assumed you knew what to do in sending music, and it has to be clean, and it wasn't. So we went in a different direction.
It was ugly.
It was all good.
Suzanne, before we keep going here, because this is your segment to really walk us through the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else, and get us some help around this. How do people find out about you? How do they contact you? How do they work with you?
So thank you. They find me at SuzanneAlexandria.com. And I do want to mention today that we're talking about energy, and I have a new series of calling them products. They're mini courses that help people understand their own energy and start to harness in profound ways. So the first one is launched, and it's called the Reiki Home Improvement Kit. It's at ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com. So I wanted to mention that because that might be the best way to just get an introduction to me and my work, and also to purchase a short program that's super empowering. Because if energy is new to you whatsoever, I've designed these tools to be simple, 5-day solution really to get energy going through Reiki in your home and in your body. And I just love it. I love the idea of bringing that kind of high vibration light of Reiki into more and more homes, because I know the impact that it has on people, including my home and my clients. So,
oh my gosh,
ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com or SuzanneAlexandria.com.
I was trying to explain this to Linda a little bit, and I'm moving into a new place.
Yes.
And unrealistically, probably, I'm trying to make everything joyful. And sometimes it's just not.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have the tools to do it or explain myself. But I may make some decisions here about doing things in the house that are not practical and they don't make sense. And it's my job to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And I love that you're doing this. I thought the other day, I was waiting for a day here where it was going to be cloudy like today. And I was going to go outside and sage the home. I don't care what the neighbors think I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I think things like that are important. But this sounds like this is 5 days that people can learn how to do restorative energy healing into the home. And we do not realize how important that is. Now, I've got to figure out a way to do this. Maybe you can help me offline with the office, because I cannot let smoke get into the smoke.
I mean, that's the thing. I can't do sage here either, but I don't have to, because I know how to bring in light called Reiki, but source light, healing light, to fundamentally start to shift
Mhm.
everything. Like for
Yeah.
me, you shift your energy, which also is your thoughts,
Yeah.
then and you shift your life. And that's what I feel like people have missed. You know, we haven't been
Mhm.
taught that how powerful it is through a thought and through an intention and a practice. You know, you change on a dime. But we know those things. Like, you know how good you feel when you go to the gym and work out, if that's your gig, or when you go on a walk, if that's your thing, or when you do yoga or meditation or go out with friends, and that resets your energy. You come back in a better place, right? But so this is the same kind of principle, but in your home. How do you adjust things so they serve you? Adjust your energy, and that's you know, there's a process to it, and that's what my new program walks people through.
Okay, let's walk us through this today because I was looking at this and I thought, man, she must be in my psyche today.
Yeah.
And I love that you're talking about Reiki, and I'm not going to go into it today because it's a long story, but I have more testimonials about Reiki and Reiki energy and
Mhm,
healing energy and what I didn't believe. I look, I started this as a skeptic to all of this 17 years ago,
mhm,
and now I'm a fan. But let's talk about what can happen for a moment and what the solution is. When
mhm,
our energy is off, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I talked about being at a
mhm,
place of joy, but I
mhm,
also talked about being at a place of fear,
mhm,
and then came down with the mystery disease. Tell us what can happen
mhm.
on either side of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I do as a healer. This is my office. And we know, I mean, when you're not in alignment and and you're not all lit up, as I like to say, your chakra system is not, you know, it's an engine. Your chakra system is designed to be this powerful fluid energy system. When that's out of alignment, when it's kind of like shut down, when it's not at optimal, that's when, you know, what I was talking about before, the golden egg, that's when it's crumbled. It's not, you know, you're not yourself, and you're very subject to, let's just say, stinking thinking. Like, you know, like you don't believe in yourself. You think you can never get out of a terrible marriage. You think you can't get that job you want. You think your, you know, your kids hate you. So to me, like, fundamentally, it's imperative to get clear so that you remember that you have choices. So people like walk into my office and the energy in here is really amazing, and I help them shift into realizing what the options are, what the opportunities are. So that's like mentally, but physically, you're talking physical, that same scenario does lead to disease. It leads to stuff happening in your body that, you know, because energy gets blocked, creates dis-ease, and that can lead to other disease, which you're implying, right? Like cancer, tumors can grow. I'm not saying this is the only cause of any of that, but it can cause um, your healthy systems to shut down and other disease to kind of take over. That's generally how I see it, and how it happens in some bodies. So when your body takes on lots of negative or can't get out, you know, the dark, the shadow takes over fundamentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense because, when I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking about what you're saying, especially in looking at what can happen, is we forget it's all energy as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And there's also the flip side of that, that if you are stuck in thought patterns, um, science will tell you if you just smile at someone,
Yeah.
if you just smile, it changes something, right?
Right. And that's energy, right? Your
Mhm.
smile projects energy. Someone sees it and
Mm.
they feel different. And
Yeah.
you, more importantly, you feel different because it
Mhm.
triggers your energy to flow in a different way. Yeah. I love
It's
that. Yeah.
and let's talk about this now. We're going to go ahead and skip the break because I want to keep going here. Talk about why this shift in energy is so important. We were out yesterday. It was a really busy day trying to get some things in here so we can get some things done. And also I'm in the process of negotiate additional space for us and where we are now. And on a 5-year lease, right? So that's a whole nother story. But something interesting happened yesterday. We were out grocery shopping, and Linda said to me, and there was a man out there playing the most beautiful violin. I mean, this guy must have been so trained, but he was out there playing the violin for money. And this is really the energy of COVID right now, right? I'm just sharing a little bit about what people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I mean, my God, we heard the sound of that violin, and
Wow.
you couldn't not hear it. And I
Blessings
didn't notice it
there.
was coming from him, and Linda did. And we were in the store and we're checking out. And Linda says, I don't know why, but I'm called to give this man $10. Now, I didn't say, why are you called to that? Or what are you doing with it? Because when somebody expresses expansive energy and kindness, there is no why.
Yeah.
There is no judgment. There is
Yeah.
no questioning. And I just looked at her and I said, yeah. And we went through my purse trying to, get the money.
Some cash.
Right. And I'm checking out, and off she went. And I watched her walk as I had the groceries, and I watched her walk towards this man and away from him, and do what she needed to do that. And I don't have words for that energy of kindness. So can you talk about how acts like that can not just change your day, but how they can change your life?
Yeah. I love that. I feel also that was this beautiful energy exchange too. He put out this music from his soul, it sounds like, and she felt it. It touched her. And she wanted to do this for her own reasons too. But it sounds very much like as another exchange. And that just feels like that's what happens. They touched, they met in that moment, and it's all energy, and it's a super high vibration because it feels like he was playing pure love music. And she was like, I want to give this offering to that. So it's even more than kindness, there's that. But to me, it's more like those two beautiful hearts got to meet in that moment because of the opening, and they both took the opportunity. That's to me what that energy feels like the meeting of I give this, and I received this. They both got to give and receive, and that's a beautiful energy opening.
It was like two hearts connecting almost immediately. And before, and it is so powerful, and it just shows me. I mean, you've talked to Linda, Linda, people know Linda, and these are the things we need in the world today. And we need to be able to give ourselves those acts of kindness. I want to talk to you for a minute about the power of Reiki to help with that, and especially what you're doing to help people in their homes, because so many people have been in their homes a lot.
Yeah, and alone.
Yeah. And I'm talking about, this is us. We've been here a lot. And there's an energy shift that's needed.
Yeah, there is.
Tell me about what you're giving people here.
Yeah, I mean, on some ways that what you just described is that meeting of the hearts at this place. That's what we're talking about. And Linda, okay, so that man, the player, was open and giving. He was offering this opportunity on one sense. maybe he was trying to make money, and also, but he was offering an opportunity for listeners to to receive. Like, I can't help but notice those flowers that are behind you, Dr. Pat, like these white flowers that are available. She has this vase, if you're listening, with white flowers that catch my eye, and I'm like drawn to them. And it's it's an offering of beauty. So he offered that, and Linda responded, and she had her heart open to receive. And fundamentally, that's the key to what I'm talking about. Is your heart open to receive light? There are so many reasons to shut down our heart, to shut down and think the world is, against us or whatever is going on. There's a lot of stories out there. What this Reiki home improvement kit is about, and my work is about, is peeling away the layers so that your heart is open to notice those times of beauty, and what feels right. And because I just fundamentally know we it's time to receive. And how often do we give ourselves the ability to receive? We don't even often know how to receive. We're just working, working, working.
I
But
know.
when you can be in the moment of catching beauty, oh my gosh, that's joy. And that can be even when you're paying bills, like we were talking about. So what do we do? I mean, to me, it's a cultivation. It's a need to cultivate every day my system so it's open, but also safe, also smart and discerning. And fun, that's what I'm teaching. A practice. It's kind of like practicing yoga, practicing meditation, practicing Tai Chi, to cultivate your awareness so that you can be both. You can be open and receiving, and you can be giving. And that's a simple way to present it, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. And, one of the things that is so important for us to understand is, we hear about as above, so below, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
as
Yeah.
within, so without, we hear about that energy. And yet the calming results in our home, that idea of having something of a high vibration in the home, we
Mm-hmm.
don't think about.
I
And we're
know.
now
Yeah.
seeing the results of that. The studies are coming out, Suzanne,
It's so true.
and the toll that this journey at home, the toll that it has taken on women, especially, that's the results that we're learning about now,
Mm-hmm.
was so unprecedented and unexpected. And I have to
Yeah.
tell you this,
Mm-hmm.
what we're seeing now, and I'm going to be doing shows about it,
Mm-hmm.
the effect of employment on women that have had to do things from home is just devastating. So
Mm-hmm.
you have this odd energy now where you've been in your home and you've been doing work from your home, or you've been doing day schooling, or I don't know what it is. It's such a wide range, but you've done it. And you're now ready to go back to the office and go back to work. And maybe you've taken a leave and you're now ready to go back. And you
Mm-hmm.
go back only to find out, oh, that job is not available and you need to take a major cut in pay.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring that energy back to the home. So we have to have a way
Yeah.
not to do that.
Yeah. How do you
Tell us
make your
about how
home?
you do that in this kit.
How do you make your home your haven, your
Thank
safe
you.
place, right? Your love,
Yeah.
your place of love in every way. Yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, I love that. Think about that. How is it your place that you get recharged, that you plug in, that nurtures you, that nourishes you? How often do we even think of that versus, like coming home and just like, I've just got to go to sleep for the next day? Even if you work from home, how does it support you? How does your home support you? And that's what this is all about, because we've also been doing a lot of internal work this past year, a lot of people, right? And the outer also needs to shift to reflect the inner. So if you've been taking advantage of this quarantine situation and healing a lot of stuff, then you might even be sensing your home doesn't even serve you anymore because it's not you. And that's what I'm seeing, actually. And I'm looking at a move because it has to reflect. So how does it nurture? How is it your safe place? I kind of like to think of it as like the charging station, like old fashioned, or a lot of technology has a charging station to recharge the batteries. How is your home that? And that's what this Reiki home improvement kit is really designed to help you think about that and where you want to make changes too.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter, right? At some level, whether it's outside of the home or inside of the home. Suzanne, what I think you've done and what you're talking about today and what we're both talking about is we get to choose this.
Mm,
But if you're me, you want to have some tools,
yeah,
right? And I
yeah.
think that's what we're saying is
Practical
sometimes,
tools.
and sometimes we can't take this journey alone.
Yeah.
That's the key. And I know I can't take this journey alone. I know that because I've learned it the hard way. And I want to ask you in these last minutes we have, certainly you've learned it that way, and that's why you've created this.
Yeah.
What is the message we want to bring full circle here to people and have you share with them your call to action?
Yeah. So remember that you are free and you always get to choose. And if you don't feel great for whatever reason, there are tools and there are people. I serve in that way too. You're sovereign. You own your heart, your body, your mind, and let your exterior reflect that too. So my message is remember that you are light. Remember you're powerful. Remember who you are and tend to that. Tend to this glorious body. Love it. And for in this case, use Reiki. Use a system like Reiki to tend to that and to love it. It's all about really loving yourself and giving yourself the time, a little teeny bit of time every day, a little knowledge, a little wisdom to keep yourself, aligned, to keep yourself in that place of being able to hear the joyful music when it's on, or see the bird that just flew by your window and think, oh my God, that bird is so beautiful. And what if it's a message, like that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. Again,
Oh,
thank
you
you for
deserve
today. And
it.
thank
Thank
you for
you.
everything you're doing. Would you let folks know again how they can tap in to what you've created for that Reiki home improvement
Yes, it's
option?
ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com, and there's an easy option to purchase. It comes as a login, as a class on a site and on an app. So you can take it with you anywhere. And I'm also available at SuzanneAlexandria.com. If you want more than just that, I'm a coach's coach, a healer's coach. I offer free 15-minute calls to anybody if you want to discuss how we might work together.
I love it.
Yeah.
Suzanne, thank you for everything you're
Thank
doing.
you,
Last,
Dr. Pat.
what's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today?
That you're loved, that you're so very, very loved. Don't ever forget that there's
Mm,
always the light available, and you're the one who gets to turn on the switch or reach up for it or reach out. You
mm,
always have that. I know that to be true. Don't ever think you don't.
awesome. Thank you so very much for today. And
Oh,
for all
thank
of you
you.
out there, remember what Suzanne has said. We're all energy. And
We're
here's the
all
thing,
energy.
we get to choose it. I can choose this or I can choose that. What will you choose today? Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Benny. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.